Good morning. And welcome. I am the Reverend Christine Dance. My pronouns are she and her, and it is my honor to serve as the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix. Welcome to our service. In this sacred space, we celebrate our humanity, our diversity, and the boundless love that unites us all. The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Phoenix strives to be a spiritual community for our time, one that is theologically diverse, radically inclusive, and justice-centered. Our doors swing wide to embrace all who seek a welcoming place. May our worship today be a source of inspiration, a comfort in challenging times, and a call to action. If you are new here, I met a whole bunch of you coming in the door. Can you raise your hand if you are new and or you're back after a long time? Look around, everyone. Basically, our whole middle section, make sure you say hi to them today. A hearty welcome to you all. We encourage you to come back several times as our services are different each week. So welcome and enjoy the service.
And I'm Benji Messer, music director here. I use he, him pronouns. I have 5 fabulous members helping me lead music today. Today's service is the third in a 3-part series looking at the prophetic voices who have spoken about authoritarianism and political violence in the past and what they can tell us about today. Today we look at the writing of Octavia Butler, and among other things, Butler emphasized the need for community. And so, for our opening hymn, we'll start with Lean on Me. Please rise in body or spirit. Here we go. our chalice lighting.
Good morning. I'm Carrie Lifshitz, and I'm your worship associate today, and my pronouns are she, her. Join me as we recite our covenant, and Mira Shah lights our chalice. If you're watching remotely and have a chalice with you, please light it with us. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to share our strength and fellowship, thus do we covenant. Before you sit down, please wave to our folks on Zoom and take a moment to turn around and smile at your neighbors. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. You may be seated.
I have a few announcements in the life of our community. So last weekend, y'all, we did a big thing. It was our auction. What a success, what a blast. I am thrilled to announce that the auction raised over $18,000. $16,000 of that goes right to our bottom line. And if you were part of the organizing team for the auction, can you please stand? Yes. If you had any role in the auction, you were an auctioneer, you helped with food, you did setup, you did anything, please stand. Thank you to all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. From your civic engagement team, the Arizona legislature continues to introduce many bills that warrant your attention and concern. This week's example of badly behaving bills include one that would allow wages for homeless people to be less than minimum wage, and another that renames Loop 202 the Charlie Kirk Highway. On the other hand, there is a bill that finally requires that kinship foster care parents be paid the same as others. So check out Compass. You can have a role in affecting the legislature that is going on. This Monday at 6 p.m., we will have a time for gentle reflection and a safe and supportive space for congregants who are carrying loss, pain, and grief around the recent changes in our children's ministry program. So please come. It is in person and online, and details are in Compass. And I would like to invite John Palumbo up for a special announcement. Welcome, John.
Good morning. Our stewardship campaign starts next week. Our goal is $615,000, which is the same as last year, and we need your support. And just so we're clear, as Reverend Christine mentioned a couple weeks ago, that would be each person given 14% more than they initially gave last year. So we need your support. And understand that there are many people in these crazy times that are financially burdened. So if you can give more than 14% more, that would be wonderful. We will have volunteers, QR codes, website info, and all the support you can get at our service next week, including online support. We will have a gift certificate that will be given to anyone that has pledged by the end of the day on next Sunday. We will reward that the following Sunday. And to hopefully get us a little more excited about this, I'd like to invite Asher Thomas up to speak.
Hi, everyone. My name is Asher. I use he, him pronouns. You may know me and my fiance, Rachel. She's our sexton, but yes. So Rachel and I moved to Phoenix a little over a year ago, and one of the first things that we did when we moved here was to seek out a UU church, because I was raised in my teen years in one, and I knew that that was going to be a incredible source of community and understanding. And so when we found this church, we then found all that and more. We now find ourselves a year into living here, having deep friendships, having people that we can that can support us, and all that and more. And so we couldn't have done that without UUCP. I'm not officially a member yet, but it is my plan next week to, give my pledge to this congregation, so that way I can help this congregation continue to do the magic that it's doing. So thank you.
And now let us settle our bodies and our hearts and draw deeper into the present moment and into the spirit of worship.
Our opening words are from Deanna Van Diver, UU Minister of Westside Unitarian Universalist Church in Seattle, Washington. As we light a chalice, a container of air, earth, and fire, this ritual of our faith reminds our subtle and crashing about beings that we are part of a collective, a community of care and connection, courage and questions, scared and sacred together. Today we gather with intention and creativity, releasing what we must, shaping what we will, in a space made possible by generations of community care and the courage of connection. For Together Time, we are recognizing the final Sunday in Black History Month, and then we will get to have a special ritual for our new Director of Children's Ministries. So can we have kids and everybody who's feeling young at heart, please come up for Together Time.
Everybody to get settled. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sydney. My pronouns are they, them. And today, with Rev. Christine focusing on Octavia Butler's writings, I wanted to have a little just info session about who she is as a person, because I feel like she's not really talked about. Not a lot of people read her stuff. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about Octavia Butler with you all this morning. Has anybody up here or over here read any Octavia Butler stuff? Oh, cool. Okay. Cool. I love it. It's so good. So she's, for those of you who haven't, she is a science fiction writer. She is an African-American science fiction writer, and she wrote 14 books over 13, 14 books over her lifetime. And she talked about a lot of different things. She talked about racism and what words are evading me this morning. And she did it in really cool ways like time travel. If you haven't read Kindred, it's a very interesting time travel book. And an interesting thing about her, so she was born June 22nd, 1947, and passed away February 24th, 2006. So her death anniversary is this week. And she was the first Black woman to get acknowledged or national recognition for sci-fi writing, which is really cool. Right? We don't get a lot of that. Does anybody have like a favorite book that they've read of hers? Michelle. Parable of the Sower. Ollie, do you have one? Time travel. Okay. We got to get you some of her stuff so you can read it. It's really cool. There's like cool graphic novels of some of her stuff now, which is, I think, makes it really cool and more accessible for younger folks to read her things, and because they can be very intimidating topics, right? So having it in a way that is more digestible or more understandable is really cool. I think my last little fun fact, she won she was the first Black woman to win a Hugo Award, which is a sci-fi award, for a couple of her books. And there was another one that she won as well, a few of, through her lifetime. Are you just stretching, Ollie? The Nebula Awards, which is like space thing. Like, I love that. Yeah, she won a couple of each for different books that she's written. Yeah. Erin. Yeah, so what she said, what Erin here shared with us, is that there is a Kindred mini-series, and she feels that it is not as comparable to the book. The book gives a lot more like detail to it than the mini-series does, around whiteness in particular. Did I get that right? Kindred, yes. What's that, Ollie? What's up, Ollie? Hold on, no, wait. Okay, it's okay.
Oh, no.
It's okay. Loud
You're
noise
good.
is okay.
We love you being up here, Oliver. It's awesome. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you for helping us through all of Black History Month. We really appreciate you. Okay, my dear ones, we have an important ritual to do. So last week we sent out an email to anyone who gets an email announcing that we have a new director of children's ministry. Can you all join me as we welcome Blake Rushing up here? So at UUCP, we do rituals when we welcome new members, when we dedicate children, when we bridge our youth to young adults, and rituals are things like weddings and memorial services. And this is a ritual to welcome Blake as a new member of our UUCP staff. So Blake, we welcome you as our new Director of Children's Ministries. This is an important position with a lot of responsibility and trust put in you with our very, very precious children and youth. You get both the privilege and the responsibility to create an environment where our youth can grow in their faith, where they have room to explore, to question, and to play, right? We like to play. You can model to everyone in the congregation, youth and adult, how to be a sacred, multi-generational community together, and we are counting on you to create and enforce policies to keep our youth safe. You will be a member of our staff team involved in operations at UUCP and on our worship team to create together times and holistic worship services that inspire the entire congregation. Okay, it's just that. It's just that. Do you take on this responsibility willingly and with excitement?
I do.
And youth, I have a question for you all, because you all are very, very special. So I have some questions for you. So do you all like to be involved in decision-making in the congregation? Do you like to help to make decisions that are important to you? Yes? And I don't know where your water is. Yeah? This is your brother? I love that. Okay, so Blake, 6 and 3. They want to make sure that you know them. Good. So, do you want Blake to listen to you? Yes. Yes. And do you want to play with Blake as well? Do you like it if Blake were to be silly with you? So, my question for you all is, this is Blake. Yes. Kids play with toys. I just want you to know. Okay. But you don't play with toys. You play Minecraft. We probably won't have as much Minecraft here, but it is good to know because there's lots of things around that. So the question for you all, and if you can say a great big yes for you, will you show Blake how things work around here, and will you be supportive to her and help her out? If so, can you say yes? Yes! Excellent. Blake, I want to talk about another element of this because you have been a very involved member of UUCP. And it can be a challenge going from being a member to being a member of staff. We know that you are up to the task, but being on staff means that you have a different obligation to the congregation and that your individual opinions may have different weight. Are you willing to make that transition? And if so, we are creating an imaginary line right here. Member side, staff side, would you like to go through the ritual of crossing over from one to the other? Yay!
Thank you, Reverend Christine. Thank you all. I simply don't have the words to express my joy and excitement. The love and support that you've already shown makes this incredibly easy. I know we are going to do some amazing and impactful things in this children's program, and we're going to have a blast doing it. I promised to work towards building a program with the simple goal of just being what the children here at UUCP need. I realize our youth step out into a challenging and kind of terrifying world all the time, And I promise to remind them just how incredibly strong and brave they all are, and to encourage them to be confident in themselves and in their strengths. I promise to be responsible with the trust that parents and the congregation at large has given me, and to be transparent in everything I do. Lastly, I promise that whatever we do, it will be for each of these children, both individually and collectively. Thank you, everybody.
So with that, I would love everyone who's here, if you wish, but I'd love to have you all line up right here and to welcome Blake. Now, we are incredibly consent-oriented here, so you can get to decide whether you want to give her a high five, or a fist bump, or a hug, or just a smile. And she can go through and greet each one of you, and we can make that the official welcome here. How does that sound? Would you like to come up and stand right here? Would you? You don't have to. It's all consent. You could, but thank you for starting us out. You want to give her a hug? You want to go ahead and start? Okay, go ahead. Yay. Nope. And then you've got some down at the other end. There you go. Welcome, Blake. We're so glad you're here. And you all may return back to your seats.
I almost forgot I had to stay up here. All right. Each month, our congregation selects a local organization that takes action on issues in alignment with our UUCP mission, and we share our offering each Sunday. This gives you an opportunity to learn about the organization, act to support them, either by donating to the offering or in service or online, or considering volunteering with them. For February, our Share the Plate partner is the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. UUSC addresses the core causes of injustice by partnering with local communities, amplifying their voices, and advocating for institutional and systemic change. They recognize the inherent worth and dignity and power of all people. For all that you give, we are so grateful. Ushers, thank you for your willing hands in helping us pass the plate.
have so many talented musicians here. I love it. We recognize that our lives are interconnected, and part of our journey as a community is sharing our significant milestones, joys, and sorrows. If you are on Zoom, you can put a note in the chat. If you're in person and want us to read your joy or sorrow next week, there is a table there in the back where you can fill out a card. So I have one written, and I think I've got some folks online. So Mark Renard right there. Mark wants us to know that his dad, Jack, is in the hospital with a urinary tract infection. I hope he feels better soon, Mark. We have a message from Jade Barger, who is not in our loft today because unfortunately she is in the hospital. Starting last week, she had a number of undercutting medical issues culminating into a multi-night hospital stays, a bunch of panels, and the cost of her medical stay is going to be exorbitant. We are not sure yet of what's going to be happening, but her process is still evolving. So please hold Jade in your heart as she is going through all of this. And I think that's all I've got. I just have to go through here. Oh, here we go. Dale and Bunny are celebrating 10 years of being together, having met here at UUCP while volunteered, and getting married today. This is the stole that I wore when you all got married. Happy anniversary of meet-iversary. May our joys and our sorrows, those named and those held in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, help us draw closer together and care for each other. So now I invite you to a time of meditation and prayer. I invite you to get familiar with where your body is at today. What needs to shift right now? Do you need to lower your shoulders, unclench your hands, place your feet on the ground, feel the energy around you and the ground below you? In these times where it feels hard to know where the ground is, see if you can center your body. Our prayer this morning is from the Reverend Liz Weber of the First Unitarian Church of Louisville, Kentucky. Spirit of life, help us to be present with all that is our life, both our deepest sorrows and our greatest joys, so that we can truly live, engaging fully in our own lives and in our community. Spirit of community, help us to know how linked we are, how each one of our cares touches us all. Help us to ask for support when we are in need and offer our support to others when we are able, so that we may rest in the solace of one another's love. Spirit of love, help us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, so that we might fully embody love and resist hatred. Spirit of resistance, help us to stick up for what is right, even when we are tired or afraid. Help us to dream of the world as it should be and act to bring that world about. Help us to find some hope each day. Spirit of hope, help us through this day and each day. Help us to be present for all that is our life. For all this we pray. Amen. And blessed be.
That was amazing, thank you. Writing in the late 20th century, Octavia Butler imagined futures shaped by climate change, economic instability, racial violence, and social injustice. No doubt she was influenced by the upheavals of her time, like the civil rights movement. But what makes her prophetic is not simply that she saw trouble. It's that she asked, who will we choose to become when everything changes? It's easy to become complacent in times like these. We see it at every age. And in fact, I remember a kid in middle school getting made fun of for the shirt he was wearing. It was easier to stay silent and hope the bully would somehow change. The issue is, hope isn't passive. Hope isn't waiting. Hope is practice. Years ago, we were watching a movie, A Bug's Life. And in case you haven't seen that movie, it's about big grasshoppers keeping control over a large colony of ants. Even though the ants greatly outnumber the grasshoppers exert their control by making the ants believe they are less than and not worthy. The ants are complacent. And I remember being struck by one of my kids saying, I don't understand. There are so many more ants. Why are they letting the grasshoppers rule them? Why indeed? It only took one ant to realize that sacred is not control. That sacred is an adaptation. I think as Unitarian Universalists, this thought resonates. We don't gather here because if we pray hard enough, it will save us from danger. We gather because we know that meaning is made in community. Resilience is something that we practice together. Octavia Butler saw that. Her vision insists that hope is not passive optimism. Hope is discipline. Hope is preparation. Hope is relationship. Friends, there is no cavalry coming. There is only us. What are we going to do? Who will we choose to become?
Some of you noticed that when I left on my sabbatical last March, the world seemed to be unraveling after the inauguration. It still is, isn't it? I decided one of the things that I wanted to do during my sabbatical was read The Parable of the Sower again by Octavia Butler. I had read it a long time ago, and the book was written in 1993. But much like how people read 1984 in 1984, I wanted to read Parable of the Sower because it was set to begin in March of 2025. So I started reading it in March of 2025. It's a dystopian science fiction fantasy that feels just a smidge too believable now. It's set just outside of Los Angeles, and it imagines the United States unraveling under climate change, extreme inequality, and social violence. The story follows Lauren Alamina, who lives in a walled community until that fragile protection is destroyed. She is then forced into a dangerous journey through a society where safety, trust, and basic humanity are increasingly scarce. One of the reasons why UUs love Parable of the Sower is because as she travels, Lauren develops a belief system and a book she calls Earthseed, centered on the idea that God is change, and that survival depends on adaptability, community, and shared purpose. Along her road and travels, she gathers a small group of fellow travelers who are diverse, wounded, and searching, who begin to embody the ideals of Earthseed through mutual care and resilience. The novel is both a survival story and a spiritual manifesto, one that many of us as UUs have said, yes, heck yes to that. It asks us what new ways of believing and organizing might emerge when old systems collapse, and what it takes to plant hope in hostile ground. One of the moments I felt of our own American dystopia most clearly was years ago, maybe one of the first, but it feels like there's so many now, when our current president, who was a candidate, made comments about grabbing women in a certain way. I was absolutely certain then, as my naive, certain person in 2015, that his political career was over. After all, much less than that had taken down previous candidates. Surely this would be the line, right? How adorable, Christine, and all of us from 2015. It was not, and in fact, that moment kept repeating itself. Oh, this must be it, and it never was. That, in many ways, has been our dystopian story of the last decade. It just keeps going. At a ministers' gathering last month, Reverend Karen Hurt, who is in Minneapolis, led a meditation using the phrase shattered assumptions. She described what psychologists call our assumptive world, the quiet set of beliefs that we carry about how the world works. And when our assumptions break, we don't just feel surprised, we feel disoriented and distressed. I did some digging and learned about the shattered assumptions theory developed by psychologist Ronnie Janoff-Bullman in 1992. It describes what happens when events destroy our core beliefs about safety, fairness, meaning, and even our own worth. When those assumptions collapse, people can experience deep psychological distress as they try to make sense of a world that no longer matches what they thought was true. Beloveds, as a minister, not a practicing psychologist, I am diagnosing the United States of America with shattered assumptions syndrome. We are living in a time when many beliefs many of us assumed were stable have broken apart. And I say many of us intentionally because many of our folks of color and other marginalized communities have known this instability for a very long time, have distrusted their government for a very long time, have had their assumptions shattered for a long time. But for others who are catching up, these breaks feel new and shocking. Many of us believed in the before times that our government actually cared about the welfare of its people, that there would be consequences for abusing children, that public officials should be held to a higher moral standard, that we should be safe in our own homes, and that Christians would treat the least of these with dignity and care. Do you remember those assumptions? Don't we feel adorable? When those assumptions collapse, we keep saying things like, surely this will be the line, or people will finally wake up now, right? Or Why am I still surprised that this keeps happening? The shock keeps coming, and the line of what is acceptable keeps sinking lower. That's why even the most liberal among us now find ourselves desperately quoting the Bible and the Constitution, not quite sure who we quite are. We're saying things like, but Jesus said the least of these, or but the First Amendment, or but the Fourth Amendment. And when liberals are quoting the Second Amendment after the death of Alex Preddy, we know the world has truly turned upside down. Shattered assumptions don't just live in our heads, they live in our shoulders, our sleep, our breath. They show up as exhaustion or numbness, hypervigilance, and grief with no place to land. The sense of safety that once came with being an American has fractured after watching what has happened in Portland and Los Angeles and Chicago and Minneapolis, with the fear and maybe even knowledge that it could come here next. We trust fewer people. We feel more fragile. The world feels more dangerous. We worry about things that never used to bother us. So what, dear ones, is the antidote to shattered assumption syndrome? According to the theory, healing requires integrating what has happened into a new, more realistic worldview. Over time, people don't return to their old assumptions, but they can form new ones. Often they are more cautious, sometimes more cynical, but also more honest. This is why fantasy, science fiction, speculative fiction, all of these different genres matter so much in moments like these. Stories help us imagine how people live when their assumptions are gone. That's why we return to stories like The Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, Star Wars, Harry Potter, or even Wicked. These worlds show us alternative ways of being. What I love about Octavia Butler is that her world feels so close to ours, and that her main character creates a theology out of it. Earthseed becomes a way to make meaning and survive. And if it helps her survive, maybe it can help us too. I'll be honest, I struggled to read this book. It felt too close, it felt too possible. I had to read it in little bits because I would find my body reacting in ways that just were not calming, and I needed to step away and then come back because I'm interested in where she goes with it and what can be possible. I felt like Butler was staring straight down the barrel of history, right at us. And yet there was comfort in watching Lauren keeping her moral voice, in watching her create meaning, even as everything familiar fell apart. Fantasy offers new alternatives. It loosens the grip of a broken, assumptive world, and it opens up new possibilities. That matters because when everything feels shattered, despair can be close at hand. We need new models, new ways of being. That's what people in Minneapolis have been doing, imagining something new, creating new models, creating a different story. And it's what we've been doing here at UUCP and within Unitarian Universalism. We imagine what it looks like to band together and care for one another. We imagine refusing to cooperate with systems that violate our values. We imagine a world rooted in justice and equity and inclusion where no one is disposable. We never claim that this world is right around the corner, but we do need a moral horizon to walk towards, especially when our assumptive world has collapsed. At the heart of Earthseed is this truth: God is change, and the only lasting truth is change. For any of you who have heard me talk about process theology, that's essentially process theology. Also in Earthseed, all that you touch, you change, and all that you change changes you. That feels deeply Unitarian Universalist, the belief that we are transformed and that we can transform the world. Also, any change may bear seeds of benefit. Seek them out. So what can we carry of all of this into our own lives? From Minneapolis, I am carrying forward the idea that singing transforms hearts, so sing more. That we don't need permission or leaders to begin change. We can do it ourselves in small groups. And that banding together, like the ants, can give us more power than we realize. And that creative resistance and non-cooperation can actually fuel joy. Taken together, Earthseed's lessons are not about comfort or certainty. They are about responsibility. Change is not something that merely happens to us. It's something we participate in and shape. These teachings read less like doctrine and more like a call to courage. In Butler's words, world survival depends on practicing the world you imagine together. The roadmap includes showing up even when you're tired, singing when you're afraid, practicing mutual aid, refusing isolation, and staying in relationship even when there are differences. So, beloveds, when our assumptions keep shattering, when the outrage renews itself every dang morning, let us remember this. Instead of fixing our gaze only on the dystopia, return to your moral compass. Imagine the world that you are helping to build and let that vision steady you when everything else feels unstable. Unitarian Universalism puts love at the center, full stop. Not as sentiment, but as covenant. Love as a practice, love as collective resilience, love that does not require the world to cooperate first. Love is the thing that still works when the Constitution doesn't and the Bible quotes fail. We move together, not because we have certainty, not because we have answers, but because we have each other. Unitarian Universalism does not promise us safety. It promises us community. It promises that when the world becomes unrecognizable, we will not face it alone. That when institutions fail, we will still show up. And that when the future feels terrifying, we will practice the world we long for anyways, through care and resistance, through song, through stubborn love. So when the dystopian story feels overwhelming, lift your eyes from the wreckage and find your people. This is where the good news lives, not in systems that may finally someday behave, but in the communities that refuse to stop loving. May we adapt without abandoning our values. May we imagine boldly, practice courage together, and choose love, not as a feeling, but as a way of life. And may that love carry us together toward a future that is more just, more tender, and more alive than the one that we are leaving behind. May it be so.
Amen. Thank you, Rev. Christine. We close with a hymn called We Will Carry Each Other by Soren Ostenfeld. They're the music director at the Unitarian Universalist congregation in Malden, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. And we've only sung this once before, so I'm going to suggest that you stay in your seats and listen to the melody of the verse and chorus once, and then I'll invite you to stand and sing. And so the verse goes... chorus is. Please rise. Let's try it together. I am looking for shelter in a friend. We can build a beginning, but I do not know the end. I am scared of breaking when I bend. We will carry each other on the way. My courage is your courage when the journey is only getting longer. My strength is your strength. We will carry each other on the way. There are prayers. There are prayers I don't know how to say. But I still find solace when I close my eyes to pray. What I've lost and what I hope can stay. We will carry each other on the way. My courage is your courage when the journey is only getting longer. My strength is your strength. We will carry each other on the way. I am full. I am running out. And I'm living through the drought. I have firm conviction and my heart is full of doubt. We will carry each other on the way. My taken with no debt. We will tag that line. We will carry each other on the way. Thank you all.
After service ends, noon activities will be listed on the screen. In children's ministry this week, Rev. Christine and our new director of children's ministry, Blake, are leading YRUU, so come meet your new director. And Martha and I will be discussing the gift of friends with the younger children. Please join us for coffee hour with food and refreshments on our community space just across the patio. Rev. Christine, please close our service.
Unitarian Universalist Wayne Arneson says, "Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are so very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Go in peace, go in love, go in community."